Hello, good morning, and welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge, New Year's Day 2023, the solemnity of Mary, Mother of God. Now, most of y'all are probably not up because you were up popping all the fireworks, shooting off the fireworks. I heard an incredible explosion, and I knew that. I said, it's midnight now. It went on, and then it finally stopped. It took a while. And then the alarm went off. I got up 2:45. I was still sleeping though. But so we got two American blended whiskeys, both 80 proof. One is famous, one is extremely obscure. So here's the famous one. Seagram 7 Crown. Brown bottle, that's better. Brown glass protects the whiskey from light damage. Clear glass won't work. No age statement. It's a 75-25 blend ratio, meaning 75% grain spirits, grain neutral spirits, 25% aged bourbon, aged at least 4 years. Don't know whose bourbon, but it's from Midwest Grain Products in Indiana. And they make a lot of different bourbons. So to sell they have their own brands now, but mostly to sell off for contract. So their big deal with Diageo, I'm sure they're whatever 4-year-old bourbon. Introduced in 1934. This is one of the top 10 best-selling whiskeys in America. It was owned by Seagrams from 1934 to the year 2000. But in the year 2000, the company Seagrams went out of business, and this brand, Seagram 7, was bought by Diageo. Okay, and then MGP got control of the distillery, the Seagrams distillery in Lawrenceburg, Indiana, and it still says Seagrams on the side of the building, big tall smokestack. They never bothered taking that off, but and they make Seagrams there, but it's not owned by them. All right, so that's the 7 Crown. You see that at every bar and liquor store in America, obviously. There's not a bar or liquor store in America that doesn't have that. Okay. Or, a restaurant that has a bar. Now, here's Quality House. Don't know when it was introduced. It's not even trademarked. They don't even have a trademark indication on it. They don't even bother trademark. Has a crown for some bizarre reason. And it says, our signet of quality, blended whiskey with natural flavors, caramel color added, bottled by Quality Control Distilling Company, Bardstown, Kentucky. But it's Heaven Hill. We know this because if you look on the Heaven Hill website, there's product specifications, a long file list, all text, of course. And this is listed. But it's only 60 proof. So how can they get away with selling a 60 proof whiskey? I'm sorry, 70 proof. How can they get away with selling a 70 proof whiskey if the law clearly states that all whiskey in America must be at least 80 proof? Here's how. If you read the Tax and Trade Bureau's handbook, it says if you added the flavoring and it dropped to down no lower than 60 proof, it can drop it to 60 proof. It's no longer a blended whiskey. It's a new class, a distilled specialty product known as flavored whiskey. You say, oh, I see. I see, said the blind man. So you say, well, that's an end around. That's a way of getting around the law. The law says it must be at least 80 proof, but then in a technical sense, it has to be, but in a real sense, it doesn't, because all they do is just say, oh, no, this is not a blended whiskey. No. This is a flavored whiskey, blended whiskey with natural flavors. Now, if it was at 80 proof, it would be, instead of flavored whiskey, it would be blended whiskey. You say, well, too wiggly. Yeah, it's meant to be that way because they're really wanting these companies to be able to produce any kind of product they want to produce. It's got to fall under some kind of guidelines, as shaky as they may be. They're strict, but they're malleable, let's call it. Golden and gold, but a little brown tint to it. There's a brown tint to it to some extent. The tint. Extent. Not int, I-N-T, but like extent. I can't say that word. PJ Beacon says, morning, Jay and dawn busting pals. Good morning, everybody. Never even heard of Quality House, but I have heard and enjoyed Heaven Hill. Heaven Hill has a lot of like alias brands, Quality House. We only get quality. I just saw a whole huge stash of it yesterday. I was at Dormax, and their liquor section is huge and famous. And I was in there, and they had just bottles upon bottles of Quality House Kentucky blended whiskey. Quality House Kentucky blended whiskey. With the old store sign on it, looked like old country store sign. Nice looking label. $6.49 for a bottle. Quality House is just blended whiskey, not Kentucky blended whiskey. Why are they calling it just that? Well, because it's they're probably using whiskey from different companies, not just Kentucky. See, Indiana most likely, MGP probably have a contract to get some of their stuff. And these whiskey companies trade stocks. They do that in Scotland every day of the year. So if you say Kentucky blended whiskey, that's fine, but all the whiskey must be from Kentucky. Doesn't have to be from the same distillery. Doesn't even have to be from the same owner. If you read the regs, it just has to all be, it has to be from Kentucky. Doesn't have to be bottled in Kentucky. But it must be all produced, blended, and aged in Kentucky. Now, you can... No, you know what? I think it can be aged in a different state. It's just the production part has to be Kentucky. I think you could send it to Missouri and age it there and bottle it in St. Louis. I'd have to check on that, but I know because even if you aged it in a different state, it still would all be from Kentucky. But we could check on that. But that's when you see that, that's what that means. If it says American blended whiskey, that means it's coming from any place in America. But if it's specific Tennessee blended whiskey, then you know it's all Tennessee whiskey. That's the short story long. I told a long story, but you get the point. All right. This smells like neutrality. You say, what does that mean? Like Switzerland? No, it smells like a lack of anything. Neutral, like a glass full of nothing. Now, with a great effort, I can bring in some sweet corn and wood, but it's not too obvious on the first couple of sniffs, okay? Let's check out this one over her. Yeah, I'm getting oak, a little vanilla, a little sweetness, but not really. Honestly, it's not too aromatic either. So they look nice, but are you going to get a lot of aroma from either one? I don't think so. 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 All right, 2023, first challenge of 23 is ready to roll on the taste. Here we go. First of many, we hope. Oh. First thing you get is a lot of charred oak. Oh, I didn't say heavily charred, nothing like that. But just a lot of wood, a lot of wood. And it's like, I said this before about Seagram 7 Crown. When you taste it, it's like wood that's saturated with whiskey. right? It's like wood barrels that have had whiskey soaking in them for 50 years, maybe different ones, but it's just like infused with the whiskey. And that's the richness that you get. You say Indiana, that's not famous for whiskey. Yeah, I know, but Indiana should be famous for whiskey because a lot of whiskey brands come from Indiana. Now it's literally right next to the Ohio River. You go any further south, you're in the water, and then you can cross into Kentucky. So it's right across from Kentucky, but it is not Kentucky. Okay. So they have their own whiskey culture. Louisiana has a whiskey culture. It's, very low profile. It's very low profile, but it exists. Always has. Just, not to any kind of large, large extent. We even get rice whiskey, Melick rice whiskey. Never tried that, but I know where to get it. You see, I can tell this is the quality house. BC's Beer Reviews. Oh, BC's Beer Reviews. I'll tell y'all one thing. It's 2023. And regardless of if it's a bottle or a can, I think BC will review it in Michigan. That's the way I feel about it. Good morning, Ron. Good morning to you. Now, I'm going to tell y'all, I know this is the quality house. And why? Does it have a bad taste? No. Doesn't have much taste. That's the difference. You don't get that infused, that whiskey-soaked wood, that rich whiskey-soaked wood. So, you say, oh, well, I saw it for $5.99 and I bought it. It was so cheap. And that Seagram's is $14.99. Oh, sometimes you see it on sale for $11.99, but that's kind of rare. But so let's just call it, let's say $13.99, because you can see it, you could find it $13.99, kind of the normal price. So let's say $13.99 versus $5.99. 5 plus 8 is 13. So $8. Is it really worth spending the extra $8? Yeah, it's worth it if you want something with a lot better flavor. Now, if you only care about, you say, well, I only care about the alcohol. I ain't worried about the flavor. I just want that alcohol level. Yeah, so why are you even buying this? That would be even a stronger argument against it because it's only 70 proof. You could buy nickel off vodka. I see that for $5.99. I've seen that for $5.99 a handle. I mean, it's rare. It's usually $8.99, $9.99, but that's so cheap. A whole handle. We're talking about 1,750 milliliters of nickel off vodka from Sazerac. It's a really cheap brand. Don't know if it's bad. Never had it. I'm not a vodka guy, although I have reviewed vodkas. So that's going to be 80 proof, and you could add it to all your mixed drinks, and I'm sure it'll be fine. So there's really, I don't know what the purpose of this is here. This Quality House American whiskey at 70 proof. Technically not a whiskey. See, in a technical sense, you say that's not whiskey, it's flavored whiskey. But you're not fooling anybody with that. All right, but I would not have bought it if I had been at that liquor store, Villa. I was at Villa, but if I had seen 70 proof, it'd gone right back on the shelf. I wouldn't have bought it. But I thought $5.99, Quality House. That's an interesting label. I'm buying it. I get home, I'm unpacking everything, putting all the stuff up, and I looked. I said 70 proof. Oh well, I couldn't drive back to Texarkana, Arkansas to bring it and return it. So I said, oh, I just have to deal with it, and I'm dealing with it. But I'm not too happy with it. It's just so washed out. I would get the Heaven Hill Kentucky blended whiskey over this for sure because it's 80 proof. It has a little charred oak flavor, minimal whiskey flavor, minuscule, and everything like that. But it's a better product. So does anybody in Texarkana buy the Quality House? Oh, it probably trickles out the door. I bet you they might sell a case a year. This is just my estimation, my guesstimation. It's the kind of thing, you put it on the shelf and you give it one facing. It's just one line, and it trickles out the store, even at $5. $5.99 a bottle. I just think that's probably the case. I mean, oh, I saw some, you want to hear a cheap price? I saw some gin yesterday, a liter of gin for $5.99. They had one bottle left, green label, Clubhouse gin, $5.99. I said, well, if I drink gin, I'd buy it. Don't drink gin, so I didn't buy it. That's as basic as it gets, you see. But just goes to show you, you can get some great deals these days in Louisiana if you look around. But Heaven Hill, Kentucky blended whiskey, yeah, I'd buy it 1,000 times for every one time I bought this, which would be 1,000 times 0 because I would never buy this. Okay, Seagram 7 Crown, would I repurchase that? Absolutely, I would, and probably will. Why would I repurchase Seagram 7 Crown? The easy answer is because it has a good flavor. It's a quality whiskey. It's from Diageo, and they don't put out junk. And although some people would disagree with that, they call Johnny Walker Red Label junk, but I take great issue with that statement. I don't believe it. It's a classic, like it says on their website, an American icon. It is an iconic product. It's been around, like I said, for 89 years. So I'm not too sure I love the current label with this huge number 7 on it. If you look at the previous label, the one they had for so long, it would just say Seagrams, and the 7 was just a little number 7. But I guess they wanted to go big and bold in your face. Honestly, it's the best deal on the Seagram 7 is to buy the handle, you know, the big jug bottle, because sometimes they'll put that on discount for $19.99. Yeah, $19.99. I don't know about $18.99. $19.99. In fact, I just saw that sale. And it's like the next month they'll have Seagram's VO, the Canadian version, for $19.99. They'll switch back and forth. You know, it's like one month they'll take turns. The 7 Crown for $19.99, then the next month the other one. And that puts you at $8.57 a bottle. So there's your answer. Why you want to pay $13.99 when you can buy another bottle that's big, you know, with the handle on it, the big jug bottle, and you're going to get 1,000 extra milliliters, and it's going to translate that you only paid $8.57 for this. Well, my answer, I wouldn't buy the glass one. It's nice, but if I'm just basically buying it for utility, to use it in taste challenges and samplings people want to try it, yeah, you buy the handle because it's a much better value per ounce. Much better value per ounce. JT says, as a college kid, I can tell. Unless you're mixing it. Nikolai sucks unless you're mixing it with a ton of juice. See, I know it's the clear plastic bottle with the green and gold label. I don't know anything about it. Really, the only thing I know about it is I see it in a lot of stores. And definitely not displayed like they're proud of it. It's like stuck down on the bottom shelf in the corner and they're trying to almost hide it. You know, that's so stumbling Fred can come in and buy his weekly bottle or something like that. It's a shame to say it like that. So, but it looks like a Russian label, but got nothing to do with Russia. But you know, vodka, Russia, they try to make it all look. Every one of them is like that. Nikolov, Samsonov, Dimitrov. Oh yeah, that is one. That is a brand, Dimitrov. Couldn't say what it's like. Romanov, Petrograd vodka, Moscow vodka. Is there anything positive to say about the Heaven Hill, the Quality House from Heaven Hill? Is there anything positive to say about Quality House? Yes, it's cheap, $5.99. Number two, it doesn't have any bad flavors, honestly. Like when you taste it, you don't say, oh, that's terrible. That's wretched. That's repulsive. No, you might say, oh, that's bland, something like that. And the label's interesting, but a little bit peculiar. But that's about all you can say. They ought to call it Quality House in quotes, like quality. Yeah, haha, sure. You know what I mean? Like not quality, but you know these cheap brands, they always claim it's premium beer, beer 30 ice, premium beer. If you could choke that down, then you could drink or eat most probably anything. It's not the worst beer on the market, but it's sure up there in the top 20. If you ever see beer 30 ice or beer 30 light or beer 30 premium, don't buy it. Unless you just have a perverse interest in bad things. You know what I mean? Like some people are like that. I really want to see how bad it is. Well, go ahead. You'll find out. Okay. Well, tomorrow, uh, what's it, Monday? So I guess that'll be the 9th day of Christmas. Today is the 8th day of Christmas. Quality House versus I think it's Sazerac brands. Old Thompson. Yeah, Old Thompson and some of those other Sazeracers. Old Thompson's actually an old brand, been around since 1904. 1904. It's been 119 years, and in all those years, only 59 people have ever bought a bottle. Only 59 people. I'm just kidding. It's more than that. It's probably 159 people. All right, thanks everybody. Y'all take care now. Happy New Year, 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 year.